So for question 2 on page 236, it said a perfectly competitive industry is composed of a large number of firms, each with the total cost function. Okay, so the total cost function, so TC, total cost, it is equal to Q squared plus 1. Okay? And it said show run marginal cost is equal to 2Q. Because, probably in the US, not necessarily everyone gonna take calculus. So perhaps because of the reason, it tells you that the show run marginal cost is 2Q. But in any case, all of you have taken calculus, so you need to know MC, okay, is equal to 2Q. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay, so what's the question? The demand curve facing the industry is Q, okay, is equal to 52 minus P. Okay? And so question A, what are the long run equilibrium price, number of firms, and price per firm in the industry? So it is kind of sometimes we may call conflicting. Okay, conflicting means it's not quite right. So, 幼儿园 Okay, you don't have a book. You should sit beside one with a book, right? 谢金佑 Okay, so this question says that, the total cost here, right? The total cost here is actually a show run total cost, right? So when Q is equal to 0, there is a cost. So this is show run, okay? But in my opinion, that's really a problem because question A, what's question A said? It said, what are the long run equilibrium price? Okay, long run equilibrium price. Because in the long run, what happened to the cost? 谢金佑 In the long run, all inputs are variable, right? But this is show run. So these are what I call conflicting, contradictory, okay? Conflicting or contradictory. Contradictory. Okay, 叶一方, what's contradictory? 郑怡玲, contradictory. Excuse me? 2 words. Okay. 洪凯轩, contradictory. Louder. Right. Because the question gives us show run show run cost function, right? But the question asks us what? Long run equilibrium. So there's something wrong here. So anyway, but when you want to do these questions, there is some rule, okay? So because later on we're gonna talk about monopoly, all these things. So remember this. First of all, when you want to talk about equilibrium, okay? When you want to talk about equilibrium, price for perfect competition, price is equal to marginal cost, okay? And actually, the price here for a competitive firm is also its marginal revenue. But for a monopolist, okay, one producer, it is marginal cost equal marginal revenue, because for a monopolist, the price is not equal to marginal revenue, okay? So sometimes you have to use some rule, okay? And so even though the question gives us a show run, okay, cost function, but they ask us for the long run equilibrium, okay? But we know that it is a competitive firm. So what's the rule? The rule is that for perfect competitive firms, in the long run, pi is equal to 0. Okay, in the long run, pi is equal to 0. What's pi? Pi is equal to total revenue minus total cost. Okay? And you have to be very careful here, because in a competitive industry, okay, in a competitive industry, there are many firms. Okay, there are many firms. So why? What's the point? The point is, this is for individual firm. Okay, this Q, okay, is for individual firm. What is this Q? This is for the market. Okay, so is this Q equal to this Q? The answer is no, right? Because you have to many small Q, right, to add up to the big Q. Okay? So you got to understand, can we, just use this marginal cost equal price? The answer is no. Because if you use it here, you got something wrong. Because this big Q is for the all of the market. Okay, it's for all of the market, right? But in the market, there's only one price. In the market, there's only one price, but the quantity consists of all firms. So this is the difference. Get it? And so even though there's something wrong here, because what we have is a, short run production, short run cost function. But the question asks long run, okay? So how to deal with the problem? In the long run, the equilibrium for a competitive industry, the hint is here. Okay, the hint is here. Okay? Okay. And also you need to know this. P is equal to marginal cost. So we know that the quantity here is for the market. Okay, this is for the market. But for individual, that competitive firm, they are price taker, right? They are price taker. The price is equal to his own price and also the market price. So how are we going to deal with it? So you have P is equal to MC is equal to 2Q. Okay? And so then Q is equal to P over 2. Any question to this point? And the hint is that in the long run, we're going to figure out what's the long run. So in the long run, okay, total revenue minus total cost is equal to 0. Okay? Any questions? So what is total revenue? Total revenue is P times Q minus total cost is here, right? Q squared minus 1. So you have to remember, this is for individual firm. Okay, for individual firm. So this is little q here. And what is P? Q is equal to P over 2, right? So P times P over 2 minus, okay, Q over 2 square of, sorry. P over 2 square minus 1 is equal to 0. Any question to this point? Why this is true? Because in the long run, for competitive firm, the profit is equal to 0. Because if there's a profit, company is going to join in. Okay, new company is going to join in. If there's loss, existing company, some of them going to go out. So make sure that in the long run, the profit is equal to 0. Okay? Questions? So, what do we have? We have P squared over 2 minus P squared over 4 minus 1 is equal to 0. Right? So, then P squared over 4 is equal to 1. And then P squared is equal to 4 and P is equal to 2. And because of that, right, Q is equal to 1. Okay, questions? And so in the long run, what is the equilibrium price? Okay, equilibrium price is equal to 2, right? And what is the equilibrium profit? Okay, the profit, of course, is equal to 0, right? And the number of firms, okay, number of firms. Can I erase this? Okay. Okay, number of firms, because P is equal to 2, right? So Q is equal to 52 minus 2, so it's equal to 50. So the market volume, okay, the market quantity is equal to 50. And each firm produces at 1 unit, right? So how many firms do you have? You have 50 firms. Okay, you have 50 firms. So this is for question 2. Okay, this is for question 2. Such questions will be in the midterm, so you have to be able to do this. Okay? Question. It said, question B, it said if demand now shifts to QD is equal to 53 minus P. Okay? So now it is Q equal to 53 minus P. Okay, what is going to happen? And he said, what are the long run price? Okay, equilibrium number of firms and the profit per firm. Okay? So what you gonna get? So this is the old one, right? And this is the new one. Okay? So what is going to happen? This, what does this mean? Zhang Zewei, when Q is equal to 52 minus P and now becomes 53 minus P, what does that mean? Okay, increase in demand, right? Increase in demand. So when there's increase in demand, what is going to happen? Right, okay, demand curve may shift to the right, okay? But be careful, here it is a perfect competitive market, right? So what would be other kind of reactions after that, after this increase in demand? What are the possible reactions in the market? So if a firm makes money, right? Right. Some companies may join in because at this point the question doesn't tell us about what? About the about the cost function. Okay, the cost function has no change, right? The question doesn't tell us any change in the cost function. So what would be the most likely answer? There will be new firms join in. Okay? And because the cost doesn't change, what about the price? The price has to be the same. Why? Because P is equal to MC, right? For a competitive firm, the cost function does not change, and so P is equal to MC will always be true. And so the price will be equal to 2. And the quantity will be equal to 1. Okay? So originally you have 50 firms, right? How many firms now? It will be the same price, right? So 53 minus 1, so what you get? Minus 2. Minus 2, and you have 51. So when Q is equal to 52 minus P, you have 50 firms, right? And now when it is 53 minus P, how many firms do you have? You have 51. Okay, a new company join in due to the increase in demand. Okay? And if you really want to calculate the profit, I think it's going to be a problem, right? Because here, this is the cost. So P times Q minus Q squared minus 1. So 2 minus 1 minus 4 minus 1. So what you get? You get negative 1. So that's what I said. this is the short run cost structure, right? This is short run cost, but the question asks you the long run equilibrium. But anyway, so, but in the long run it should be zero. Okay, in the long run it should be zero. Okay, questions. Let's get to question 7. Okay, let's get to question 7. Okay, question 7, you have, again, let me read the question to you. It said, a competitive industry consisting of 100 firms and produces good X. When firms have chosen the optimal size in the long run, their short run costs are identical and given by SRTC equals 2Q squared plus 8. And so because of that, if you know calculus, you know that short run marginal cost is going to be 4Q. And the market demand is equal to, is Q equal to 130 minus P. So again, this is a short run situation, right? Short run situation. But question A, it is fine. It said, what is the short run equilibrium price in this market? Question 2 say, what's the long run equilibrium? Again, this is a problem, right? Because we have a short run cost structure, right? The cost structure is short run, and it's gonna ask long run equilibrium. So how are we gonna deal with it? This rule, the rule is that pi is equal to what? TR minus TC and less equal to 0. But when it said it's long run, okay, when it says it's long run, that would be a problem, right? But because, well, Huang Xiaohui, in the long run, where will the competitive firm produce? In the long run, what is the point that a competitive firm will produce? Excuse me? P is equal to MC and what else? Equals what? MR, okay. What else? AR. And also, actually, AC, right? Because we say in the long run, okay, in the long run, AC, MC, right? And here is the point. Because in the long run, what happened? In the long run, there's no profit. Okay, the economic profit is equal to 0, right? And so necessarily, the production is at this point, where MC equals AC. And at this point, it is the most efficient production, right? This is the most efficient point of production, okay? So we know that P is equal to LAC equal to LMC. We talked about this before, right? We said price is equal to LMC. So what you pay is what you get. So this is the production marginal cost of the firm, and this is what you pay for it. So it is fair, okay? Because of this, it is fair, okay? And P is equal to LAC because of that, okay? Because of that, the economic profit is 0. So they only earn their opportunity cost and nothing more, nothing less. And for this, right, for AC and MC intersects, average cost and marginal cost is the point that it intersects. This is the most efficient production level because at this point, average cost is the lowest. Okay, at this point, average cost is the lowest. Remember, as I have told you, when AP and MP intersects, okay, when AP and MP intersects, it intersects at the highest point, the maximum of AP. Okay, they intersect at the maximum of AP. And when MC is equal to AC, they intersect at the minimum of AC. So the minimum of AC is the most efficient point, okay, because the average cost is the lowest, okay? Okay, so then let's get to the question. Okay, TC is equal to 2Q squared plus 8, okay? And then Q is equal to 130 minus P, okay? So any question to this point? First of all, we are talking about short run, okay, short run. So anyway, MC is equal to 4Q, okay? Any question to this point? And it is a competitive firm, okay? So MC is equal to 4Q is equal to P, right? So Q is equal to P over 4, okay? Any question to this point? Okay, any question to this point? So how many firms do we have? The question tells us we have 100 firms. So this is for one firm, right? This is for one firm. And we have 100 firms. So 100Q is equal to 100 times P over 4 is equal to 25P. Okay? Any question to this point? So 100Q is the market quantity. Okay, 100Q is equal to the market quantity. So this one is actually this one. Okay? So what does that mean? That means 25P is equal to Q is equal to 130 minus P. Okay? So what does that mean? That means 26P is equal to 130. So P is equal to 5. Okay? Any questions? Okay, so question A. What is the short run equilibrium price in the market? The short run equilibrium price is equal to 5. And what is the short run production level? It's equal to 5 over 4. Okay? Any questions? Okay, let's turn to question B. Okay, question B. In the long run, okay, in the long run, the market will operate at the most efficient level. So MC is equal to AC. That will be for the long run. Okay, as I have drawn a picture for you, right? A diagram. So MC and AC intersect. That is the most efficient production level. That is what it's supposed to be. Okay? Alright, I will erase it. Okay, so then what do you have? You have MC is equal to 4Q, right? And AC, okay, 2Q squared plus A divided by Q. Right? Here is total cost. Here it is total cost. And this is total cost divided by Q, so that's average cost. Right? And here marginal cost is equal to 4Q. Okay, questions? Any question? So then what do we have? 4Q squared is equal to 2Q squared plus 8. Okay? And so 2Q squared is equal to 8. So Q squared is equal to 4. So Q is equal to 2. Okay? Okay, any questions? And here, okay, here is equal to 2. So then what else? Okay, then what else? So what is P? Well, P, where is P? What do we have? We have MC P is equal to MC, right? So MC is equal to 4Q. So P is equal to 8, right? So from Q here, okay, remember that this is for individual firm. Okay, this is for individual firm. It's not for the all of the market. Okay, the market quantity is different. So here you figure out what is the Q, the production level for individual firm, and then you get here, right? We know that MC is equal to 4Q, so P is equal to 8. What is the Q? So you have Q is equal to 130 minus P, right? Okay. So what's going on? So that means Q is equal to 130 minus 8. So that's equal to 122, right? And what do we get? We get individual production level, okay, is equal to 2. So what does that mean? That means you have 61 firms. Number of firms is equal to 122 minus 2, so you get 61. Okay? So when we get what's long run equilibrium, the price will be equal to 8. And question C, how many firms must enter or exit the industry for the industry to be in the long run equilibrium? So originally, the question tells us we have 100 firms, right? We have 100 firms. But in the long run, what you get? We get the number of firms is only 61. So what does that mean? That means 39 firms, okay, gone. Okay? So 39 firms have to get out of the market because it's not that efficient for so many firms, 100, to get in the market, because in the long run you have to make adjustment. So the production level is equal to 2, and the price will be equal to 8. Okay? Questions? So this is for question 7. Okay? So question 2, we would have this type of question, okay, question 2 and question 8, similar questions in the midterm. Okay, let's turn to question 3 on page 236, the self-test problem. Okay, it said assume the number industry is a perfectly competitive market. Okay, so question A, explain the short-run impact of a $100 per ton tax on number industry and a typical number producer. Explain your answer using both graphs or for a firm in an industry. Okay, the question here. The question here is you have $100 tax per ton. Okay? So what's going on here? So what will happen? If there is a $100 tax, what will happen? It's per ton. So let us say we have a diagram like this, Q, right? And here is the cost, okay? And this is AC, right? This is MC, okay? So what will happen? What will happen? Chen Xizai here. Chen Xizai, what will happen? Excuse me? Wang Xiuhui. Sorry, you again. What will happen? If there's a tax, $100 per ton. Okay, and so AC will go up, right? Because it's per ton, right? So each ton will go up by $100. Okay. What about MC? Ship to the right. It's gonna cost $100 more, right? Because for this tax, right? So what happened? Ship to the left. Basically, if you remember last semester we talked about this, right? If government have a tax, what happened? If government have a tax on the producer, supply will decrease, right? And so it is something like this. And it will go up by how much? Most likely $100, right? Okay? So that would be something you're going to look at, right? Because marginal cost is going to go up per unit $100. And average cost is the same. It's going to go up $100 per unit, okay? So question B, explain the long-run impact of the tax on the lumber industry and a typical lumber producer, okay? So here is individual, okay? Here is individual. And now you are going to analyze the market. Okay, the market, okay, QP, and here it is supply, is demand, right? So because of the increase in tax, so what you get? You get this one is plus $100 tax. Okay? So what will happen? What will happen? Question B. So what would be the impact on the lumber industry and a producer? So this is talking about the whole industry, right? And here is the producer. So what will happen? Excuse me? Yeah, it's here. Quantity will go down. And so what about individual firms? Exactly, right? Because now, because of the burden of the tax, okay, probably the firm, okay, gonna say, in the long run, right? In the long run, let us say at this point, I probably, make $1 million, invest my, opportunity cost, so make my the economic profit equal to 0. But now I have to pay tax, right? So probably I would have lost, right? Probably I would lost. In the short run, okay, it may be fine, but in the long run, because it's gonna affect the market, okay, the market demand gonna go down, right? Okay, the equilibrium quantity gonna go down, and it will not be able to sustain this many firms. So some firms will drop out, okay? Some firms will drop out. Okay, question C. Say on your graph, indicate the total tax revenue generated by the tax number in the long run. It's a little bit difficult, right? So here is, okay, so let me mark it. This is the Q1 P1, okay, and here is Q2 P2, okay? Now you have to be very careful when you want to mark, okay, which area is the tax revenue, okay? So here, okay, P2 minus P1, okay? P2 minus P1, this part is tax, okay? This is a tax, okay? And the tax revenue will be here, okay? Because this is a tax, right? And this is the quantity demanded after the tax. And so P, okay, this is tax, T, okay, tax minus quantity, right? Oh, sorry, multiply by the quantity. So here, this rectangle, okay, this rectangle is the tax revenue. Question D. So would the tax revenue generate more would the tax generate more tax revenue for the government if the number industry were a constant cost industry? So if it is constant, right? What happened? If it is constant cost, the supply curve is horizontal. Okay, if it is constant, and so Q, P, okay, and of course so at this point it really depends. You know, we mentioned before, okay, that semester, when there's a tax, right? Sometimes the tax will be shared by producer and consumer, okay? According to what rule? We talked about this before. So if there's a tax onto something, okay, for producer and consumer, they may have to share the tax, but it really depends on elasticity. The one with higher elasticity, okay, the one with higher elasticity pay less tax, okay, and the one with lower elasticity has to pay a higher tax. So in this case, you know, because the question doesn't say anything about this, okay, the question doesn't say anything about this. It just tells us that, you know, the supplier, okay, the producer is in a constant cost industry, but it doesn't tell us really about, you know, the kind of, as I say, elasticity of consumer, okay? But suppose consumer is something like this. Actually, consumer have to pay the tax, okay? But, you know, let us say, you know, in the market, the supply curve ends up like this. So then, what happened? The tax will be all paid by the consumer. Okay, the tax will all paid by consumer. And he said, if it is a constant cost industry, so it could be something like this. But as a matter of fact, to analyze it, we perhaps need a little bit more information than that. Okay? So we finished question 2 and question 3 and question 7. Now let's get to question 1. Sorry, time is up. Let's take a break.